Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is the second episode of Solved or Unsolved, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Brent, and today we're going to talk about the Jamison family who lived in Eufaula, Oklahoma. And this took place back in 2009. You had Bobby, Cheryl Lynn were the parents, and 6-year-old Madison. They lived there in Eufaula, but they wanted to live more out, not really with neighbors around them, be a little more self-reliant. So they found a internet ad that had 40 acres for sale. It was about 30 miles away in the mountains from where they lived. So they loaded up with their Madison's dog Macy, and they were going to go check out this property. They were not seen or heard from for 8 days later, which this. A lot of people, call their family or friends every day or text or communicate. But that wasn't real unusual for the Jamison family. Bobby and Cheryl Lynn, they sort of kept to themselves, didn't really talk even to their family much. And Madison was homeschooled, so no one really missed them much at all. But their vehicle, like I said, 8 days later, was found on the side of a road, a dirt road, really close to where this property was that they were going to go look at to see if they could purchase it. Well, and it's not real unusual. Some people had seen the truck on the side of the road. They thought maybe it's just an oil or a gas worker that had to do some work up in the mountains, or maybe a hunter. So it wasn't real unusual. It's very, very isolated, only with dirt roads. So 8 days later, the vehicle was noticed, and so the sheriff's department was called. And they saw the little puppy. Madison was in the truck. So, of course, no one around, so they bust the window. The truck is locked and windows are up. So they bust the window out. Well, the puppy's barely alive. And I don't see how 8 days in that truck that little puppy's still alive. I mean, I don't think there was any water in there, food. I mean, I can see without going without food, but water, I don't see how the dog possibly survived at all. So the police are there. They're looking through the truck. In the truck, they found their wallets, their cell phones, their IDs, a GPS system, a prescription bottle with a man's name that they don't know about, an unknown name. And they also found $32,000 in a bag stuffed under the driver's seat. And they found an 11-page written note by Cheryl Lynn that was talking just really, really bad about her husband, Bobby. Just very derogatory, just really putting him down. But after the police talked to family members, they said that wasn't really unusual, that she used that as a coping mechanism, but that she loved Bobby very much. Don't know why it would have been in the truck, but it was in the truck. Also, what was not found in the truck was a .22 caliber pistol that they said Cheryl Lynn always had in the vehicle. Always. It was not found at all. People said the money was for cash for maybe a down payment, the purchase of this property. Police, they used the phones, the GPS in the phones to track their last movements, because the Jamisons are nowhere to be found. No one's heard from them. No one's seen them, nothing. And the GPS on the phone led them up a hill from where the truck was. They found some footprints that had been muddy footprints. They found those, and they could tell that clearly, pretty much, it should have been one of them were Madison's footprints. They could tell by the age of the girl, possibly how big the shoe size would be, and could tell that way. And then the GPS showed them going on up the hill on a mound of rocks, sort of up higher on the hill, and it appears that they had stopped there and stayed for 15 to 20 minutes. And there was also a photograph on that phone that was taken of Madison there at those rocks. Now, a lot of people say, and there are pictures of this on the internet. Will put it on my website. Actually, the website is solved or unsolved.com. Go check that out, please. You'll find everything there. I'm going to put the picture on there. Family members said that Madison looked very distressed, very angry. Other people that look at it say she looks like she was talking, trying to get a point across, like crossing her arms, like, no, this is what I want to do, or this is what I say. If you have children, you know what I'm talking about. So I'll put that up so you can make your own determination of what you think her attitude, emotional feelings are at that point. GPS also shows that from the rocks where they took the picture, that they walked back to the truck, and that's where the phones were found. Looking around the truck, there was no signs of a struggle, nothing. Windows up, doors locked, all these items inside the truck, no signs of on the ground of a scuffle, any kind of problems like that. Now, there was a search, of course, they're looking for them, can't find them, so there's a massive search began in the area. It said that over 100 people were involved in this search. It was people on horseback, people just walking and looking. Cadaver dogs were used, helicopters, other types of aircraft, and there was no trace of the Jamisons at all at this point. Now, to me, this part of the story is very, very important, and you'll understand a little later in the podcast. Hundreds of people, aircraft, cadaver dogs, horseback, they are not found anywhere around where this truck is found. So the police are doing their investigation, and months go by. And remember the pill bottle in the truck? Didn't know who he was? Well, police finally found the name on the description, found the man. And it belonged to a handyman. He had lived with the Jamisons a few months earlier. Now the story is that this man told Sherilyn that anyone who wasn't white needed to die. Of course, this made Sherilyn very angry. She grabbed her .22 pistol, remember that's not found in the truck, and forcefully made him to leave, telling him to never come back. She actually shot 2 rounds at his feet, scared the guy off, never seen from, left. He didn't come up anymore. Now, there's some theories of, well, why was his pill bottle in the truck? Well, he's a handyman. I don't know how long he had worked for them, but I'm sure he would have to use the truck every now and then to do his daily jobs of working and doing handy work for them. So that doesn't seem really surprising to me. I mean, it could have been a daily medication, and he had it in his pocket at all times, took the last one day and just threw it in the floorboard. That just doesn't seem very odd to me that this guy's pill box was in the truck, because he worked for some time for the Jamisons. And during the investigation, it's found that Bobby and his father, Bob, did not get along at all. Evidently, Bobby had worked for Bob. Bob owned a gas station and had worked for him for many, many years. And the deal was whenever Bob, the dad, sold the property, that Bobby would get half of the profit, half of the proceeds from the sale of the business. Well, the dad eventually did sell the business, but did not give Bobby any of the money. It was just a bad situation. They did not get along at all. People actually stated that they had heard Bob threaten to kill his son, Bobby, numerous times. Even Bobby's mom said that Bob, the dad, had heard him threaten to kill the son. It's not a good situation at all. Actually, Bobby was so fearful at this point that he got an order of protection out against his dad for his whole family. Bitter arguments, and just between the father and son, horrible situation. You had some people saying that witchcraft was involved. The Jamisons, they actually consulted with a pastor and said that there were spirits inside their home and that angels were actually communicating with their daughter Madison. Bobby actually asked the preacher, are there any kind of special bullets I can get from my gun to get rid of these spirits? There was a Bible, a witch's Bible was found in their home. It belonged to Sherilyn. Sherilyn sort of at one point declared herself to be a witch. She would tell people this. After there was a cat that was poisoned by a neighbor, supposedly a neighbor, Sherilyn painted a message on a big shipping container on their property, and it said, 3 cats killed today by people in this area. Witches don't like their black cats killed. So, of course, a big theory was it was witchcraft involved, some kind of a cult. It was a big talk about it. I'm not going to talk a lot about it. I don't think there's much to it. That's my personal opinion. This area of the country is also known for a lot of meth use, a lot of meth making. It's very rural, a poor area. Many speculate that both Bobby and Cheryl Lynn were heavy drug users. Notice that before they disappeared, both had lost a large amount of weight, looked emancipated, did not look good at all. So a lot of people are saying that it was a drug deal gone bad, that's why the $32,000 was in a bag underneath the driver's seat. That's a lot of money, and both Bobby and Cheryl Lynn were on disability. Bobby because of a car accident, I think in 2005, and Cheryl Lynn because of some mental things, bipolar and other things. They were both drawing disability checks. So it's not a lot of money, and a lot of people wonder, well, where did this $32,000 come from? The thing about if it was a drug deal gone bad, whoever was involved in this after they took care of the Jamisons would have definitely gone through that vehicle and would have found the $32,000. Every single drug deal or drug case I was involved with, the drug dealers are in the business for money. If you're going to kill someone, you're definitely going to look in that vehicle to take anything you can take or any kind of evidence that looks bad on you. You're definitely going to go through the vehicle. And the $32,000 was never touched the car. The truck was never even open. 4 years later, in November, two hunters found 3 bodies out in the woods. It was 2 males and a female. It's going to be about the age and size of Madison. These bodies are found on top of the dirt, laying face down, side by side. And the bodies had been 4 years later, were very decomposed. It was determined that this was the Jamisons, but the bodies were so decomposed they could not find cause of death. It just wasn't able to take place. Now, there's a lot of theories out there on this case. I'm going to discuss a couple of them. One is the witchcraft one. I think that's sort of far-fetched. There's no evidence whatsoever toward that, but a lot of people think that is the root of this. A lot of people say that it was a drug deal gone bad, or they got out there and saw something they should not have seen. Okay, if that's the case, like I said, they would have gone through the truck. If they were there to buy drugs, they knew they had money, so they didn't have the money on them. They would have known it was in the truck, the money was. Did they walk up and find something that they shouldn't see? Possible. That is very possible. It's another theory that when they went back on the rocks, went back to the truck, put their coats up, and it's October, and this is eastern Oklahoma. It's not real warm, but put their coats up, put their phones up, and went exploring, and basically got lost and just succumbed to the environment and to the weather. The thing about that is Madison always took her puppy Macy with her. Then why'd they leave the puppy in the truck? If you're going exploring, why do you not take your phones with you? My phone has a compass on it to take pictures. You might see something really nice you want to take pictures of. And why didn't they take their coats? If you're going exploring, you want to be a little bit prepared. So that one doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now, another theory is that Bobby's father, killed the family. Just was tired of all of it, tired of hearing from them, and had taken an order of protection against them. But Bob was in really bad physical health at this time. He actually passed away 2 months after the Jamisons disappeared. That does not mean that he could have hired someone to kill the family. Now, that's a theory I don't hear a lot about. That's one I'm throwing out there that I'm thinking of more, that he could have hired them. And that being the case, take care of the family, kill them. You don't care about the truck. You don't know there's money in that truck. You're not doing it. You're getting paid. You take care of your job. You're done. That's more of what I'm leaning toward. But a lot of people say, well, no, he didn't do that. Well, I'm saying Bob did not. I'm saying Bob hired someone to take care of it. Another theory is murder-suicide. That either Bobby or Sherilyn killed the other, killed Madison. The .22 pistol cannot be found. It's not in the truck. It's always in the truck. Everyone said that. And they said it would be more of Sherilyn because she left the 11-page hateful letter about Bobby. Sherilyn had a history of mental issues. But here's the thing with that. If it was her, murder-suicide, she shoots Bobby, she shoots Madison, she going to shoot herself, go dispose of the gun somewhere, come back and lay beside him. No, that's not possible. And there was no weapon, no anything found anywhere where the bodies were found. So that's not possible. But it said that, well, Bobby did it. Well, still, where's the gun, or how did they kill him? And how did he kill himself? That the murder-suicide, to me, the evidence shows that's not the case. And here's the main point that I want to bring out on this. Remember when I said earlier, over 100 people, horseback, walking, cadaver dogs, aircraft, did not find these 3 bodies. These 3 bodies were found 3 miles from where the truck was. Only 3 miles. These people searched for days. It was October. The leaves are pretty much gone. Aircraft could have seen. You got cadaver dogs. Man, they can find that stuff. I mean, 3 miles is nothing for them. They can find that stuff. And the bodies are found 4 years later on top of the ground, side by side. You know, you're out in the woods like that. You got scavengers that are going to get a hold of those bodies. You know, you have wild dogs. You have coyotes. I mean, buzzards, even things like possums, raccoons are going to mess with it and move it. Those bodies are going to be scattered out. There will be bones scattered out hundreds of yards. The bodies are not going to be intact, laying side by side on top of the dirt. It wasn't in a shallow grave. They were laid on top of the dirt, face down. This was some kind of a message to someone, because those bodies were not there when they disappeared. Not a doubt in my mind. They would have been spotted. So I think these bodies were brought back and laid in this position for a certain reason. That reason, I have no idea. I never heard anything about any life insurance policies or any beneficiaries. But without bodies, maybe this type of insurance did not pay anything. I'm not making accusations. I'm just talking out loud. Thinking out loud, I mean. But none of that makes sense. That takes me more back to Bob, possibly the father, hired someone or people to kill the family. They took the bodies away, and for some reason they were brought back and laid face down on the dirt the way they were. Maybe to make a point, maybe to show, hey, this is what happens. I don't know. But that makes some more sense to me than these other theories of the murder-suicide, of the witchcraft, of the bad drug deal. It makes more sense to me. Now, I'm not saying I know, but the other things just don't add up. There's not the evidence for it. The biggest kicker to me, the bodies were not found 4 years later. They were found 3 miles away, face down, not disturbed, side by side. I want to thank you very much for listening to the podcast. My website is now up, solvedorunsolved.com. Also follow me on social media on Instagram and Facebook, Solved and Unsolved, or Solved or Unsolved. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. The website is solvedorunsolved.com. If you enjoy these, please subscribe to my channel and give me a good review. Tell your family and friends. And again, thank you very much for listening.